doing lesson 9 of module 4. But before we start, I kind of probably need to review a little bit from last week, since it's been, 5 days that I haven't had you. If I have the number 1/2 times 8, how can I set that problem up? What do I need to do? Chance? Okay, so draw one box. Each of them's 1/2. Would that work? It might work. Draw one line. And what needs to go on top? If this is my denominator, what's my numerator going to be? The top number will be the 1. Okay, because remember we have the number 8 and we're taking 1/2 of it. So what would 1/2 equal? It's got to be 4 because I have 2 boxes. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And if I had 4 plus 4, it would equal 8. Okay. Do this one with your neighbor or on your own. I'll be drawing sticks to check on you, and I also, when I come around, want to see boxes on your desk or on your paper. Okay, so as I was walking around, this is what I saw, which is perfect. We know that we have our tape diagram, and we're going to be multiplying 10 times a fraction, and that fraction is 3/5, so we're going to look at the denominator, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I took my whole number 10 and divided it into 5 equal parts, how many would be in each part? 2. And they want to know what 3/5 of that is. So I'm going to take 3 of those boxes, and I'm going to say 2, 4, 6. So 10 times 3/5 equals 6. Now let's look at lesson number 9, dealing with conversions. And you have a conversion sheet on one of your previous pages. What is the mnemonic device that we use when we talk about the metric system? Do you guys remember what it is? What the saying is? Starts with a King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. King Henry doesn't usually, which is the unit, that would be grams, meters, liters, doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. Oh, and I don't usually make an M, I guess. Chocolate milk. And then, if we go this way, for every place we go to the left, our number is getting. So remember, as you go to the left, your decimal goes like this to the right, and as you go to the right, your decimal goes this way, and it goes up in increments of how much? If you go one place over, it's 10 or 10ths. Good. So we have on C, look at problem set, lesson 9, letter C, 5/6 of a year equals blank months. Well, what's the first thing you probably need to ask yourself? Chance? How many times? Well, how do you know about the 12, though? What do you have to ask yourself first, Chance? How many months are in a year? And Chance said there's 12 months in a year. So, what do you think our tape diagram is going to have on top of it? A 12, because there are 12 months in 1 year, right? So you make a tape diagram. We know there's 12 months. And how many ways we're going to divide up our tape diagram? How many boxes will we have, Morgan?
We will have 6 boxes.
We'll have 6 boxes because our denominator is 6. And how many are we trying to figure out? How many part of that fraction are we trying to figure out?
5.
We want to know how many total 5 equal, right? Well, before we do that, we have to figure out how many one equals. So, what is 1/6 of a year? 1/6 of a year. 2. How did you know that? Perfect. So we know that 12 divided into 6 parts is, each part would be 2, right? So on your paper below, you're going to write 1/6 times 1 year is the same as 1/6 times 12 months so 1/6 equals 2. But what would 5/6 equal? What would 5/6 equal? We know every single one of these is 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You can always double check. That's how you double check your work. Make sure all of them add up to the same number on top. What's 5/6?
10.
Okay, so we have, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or you could say 2 times 5 equals 10. So 5/6 of a year equals 10 months. How many centimeters are in 1 meter? Centimeters in a meter. Did I ever turn that back on? Yes, I did. King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. So, here's the meter, here's the centimeter. 1 meter, so we have 1 right here. Remember that chart you guys have that you can like draw little upside down U-y things on to move it over? Here's our decimal. We always have an imaginary decimal after our number, remember? Okay, how'd you know that? They give you a chart, but what if you didn't have the chart? How could I look at this? How could I look at this? You beat me to the punch there, bud. That's true. You could look at a chart. What else could you do? What if I didn't have a chart?
You could use this, and then you could use your decimal over 2 slices and add a 0 and a little thing.
Yeah, so I could play like my decimals right there, right? And I go 1, 2. 1, 2, and for every blank I have, I put in my zeros. Because someday you won't have a handy-dandy chart. But while you have it, I guess you might as well use it. So 4/5 meter, so what's going to go What's going to go up on top? Luke just gave us the answer a minute ago, so what's going to go on top? Madison? 100. And how many ways are we dividing that 100? How many parts are we dividing it into, Camden? 5 parts. And so I know that 1/5 times 1 meter is the same as 1/5 times how many centimeters? 100 cms. The question is how much is in 4/5. So first you have to find out how much is in 1/5. Number 21. How much is in 1/5 of 100?
20.
20? Because 20 times 5 is 100. So we have 20. But do they want to know how much is in 1/5? No. You need to know that to write your 1/5 equals 100 centimeters. That would be 20. 1/5 times 100 centimeters equals 20, but 4/5 times equals, what's it going to equal? Number 13. What do you think? What's 4 times 20? Okay. 4 times 20 is 80. So our answer would be 4/5 times 100 equals 80 centimeters. That's pretty easy the way they do it on here. Wow. The way I used to teach it seems hard now, and I thought that way was easy. This is easy. Okay, questions about that before we work on this word problem? Look at word problem number 3. At the market, Mr. Paul bought 7/8 pound of cashews and 3/4 pound of walnuts. How many ounces of cashews did Mr. Paul buy? 1. How many ounces are in a pound? Ounces in a pound? 16? So how many total ounces is he going to maybe have? I don't know. What's going to be our big number that goes up on top? Jaden? 16? Okay, I'm going to have you work this one on your own. 7/8 of it is cashews and 3/4 are walnuts. Well, that's interesting. Wonder how you're going to find out. Maybe you can't work this one on your own. What do I need to do? I have 8 boxes and then I have 4. That doesn't make any sense. What's it say he did? Are we reading all the information? Look at your information closely. Ask you for ounces? What do you think? He bought cashews and walnuts. So how many tape diagrams should you have for this one?
But it's only one because it's only asking you.
How many ounces of cashews?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for total, though, you'll have 2, right? Because some of you, your initial thought when you look at that would be that you're going to divide up this whole thing, and one part of it you're going to have walnuts and one part you're going to have cashews, but that's not going to be the case in this. In other problems we've had, you've done that. Sugar away. Away. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is cashews. The second thing is walnuts. And then it says, how many more ounces of cashews than walnuts did Mr. Paul buy? How many more signifies that you're going to have to do this operation, and what would that be? How many more? When you read something like that, what do you think you're going to have to do? Add? Subtract. Yeah. Okay, I want you to solve A, B, and C on your own, and I'm going to come around and look to see how you're doing. Okay, it looks like you guys pretty much have this. Cashews, he bought 7/8 of a pound, so you divided it into 7 parts. 3. And one more. You didn't divide it into 7 parts. What am I talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Divided 8 parts. 10, 16 divided by 8 is 2. So I was walking around. I saw 2 in all your boxes. You guys are doing an amazing job. I think everybody got it right. And then 7/8. You'll take that. 2 times 7 is 14. So for A, you have 14 ounces. Make sure you put your label. For the walnuts, are we still talking about 16 ounces? Yep. And he did 3/4 of a pound. So 16 divided by 4 is 16 divided by 4 is 4. If you have 3 of those, 3 times 4 is 12 ounces. Then it asks you to find how many more ounces of cashews than walnuts did Mr. Paul buy. Well, he bought 14 ounces of cashews. He bought 12 ounces of walnuts. So what would you have to do? You would have to, everybody, subtract. He bought how many more ounces? Go ahead. 2 more ounces then of cashews and walnuts. For D, they kind of add something else to that. They say, if Miss Toombs bought 1 1/2 pounds of pistachios, who bought more nuts? Mr. Paul or Miss Toombs? How many more ounces? Could we actually take 7/8 and 3/4 and add them together? Could we do that? Take what we already have and add it together?
Well, if you did that, you would have to try to find a common denominator.
Ooh, I like the way you talk. I like that. Common denominator. So, why don't you guys try to work through that one? 7/8 and plus 3/4, you'd have to do that first, right? Add up total how many pounds of nuts did Mr. Paul buy? And then what are you going to do to find out the difference between how many pistachios were bought and how many nuts he bought? What do you have to do then? After you find your common denominator and you add them together, then what do?
You find out how many pounds.
Okay, find out how many pounds?
You find out the mixed number.
The mixed number?
I actually didn't do it that way. I just converted the 1 1/2 pounds with 24 ounces. And then I added 14 plus 12 ounces, and that was 26. Yeah.
Good.
That's what I did.
Good. You can do it. You can do it that way too. But sometimes we're not all thinking on the same wavelength. So if that works for you, you can do it that way. You can convert it pounds to ounces and take the information you already have, or you can add find common denominator, which is also good because some of you need extra practice. When you find a common denominator, what are you looking for to begin with? The LC, the least common denominator, which means, remember, you have 7/8 and 3/4. Remember, you have 8 and 4 like this. While you could think through this in your head, it's always good to get the extra practice. What goes in both 8 and 4? Okay, someone said 2. You could do 2. You could do 4. Let's do 2. 2 goes into 8. How many times? 2 goes into 4? 2 times. Can I keep going? Yep. On your line, what goes into both those numbers? 2 goes into 4. 2 goes into 2. 1. How do I find my least common denominator? How do I do that now? What do I have to do?
2 times 2, 1, and 4 times 1.
Okay. So, you multiply all these together. Now, I've had this before in the past where kids have missed a problem because they said this was 6. Oh, 2 times 3. Is that 6? We have 2 3 times, but 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 1 is 8. You guys remember this process still? 8 times what equals 8? Times 1. So what am I going to do at the top? Times. What do I do at the top? Times 1. This is times what? 2. Top numbers times 2. 7 times 1 is?
7.
And 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 7 is?
13.
How do I fix that?
You have to stay on the times 8 into 13. That is 1. 5 is left over. So you put your 5 as your remainder, and then you put 8 as your denominator, and then it will be 1 and 5/8.
Okay, 1 and 5/8. Perfect. 1 and 5/8 would be your answer, and then Miss Toombs bought 1 1/2 pounds pistachios. So then you would have to do what with those two numbers? Subtract them. 1.
Who bought more? How many ounces more?
Okay, so you do 1 and 5/8 minus 1 and 1/2. Go ahead and solve that. I'm going to come around and look. Make sure you guys are with me on this, and then we will call it a day.